So I actually was raised in a Christian background. I was raised by two wonderful parents who raised my brothers and I in such a way where everything in our life was based upon faith. But as I got into high school, I would say that skepticism really started kicking in, where I found myself in a place of doubt and unbelief, and getting to a point where I was ready to let go of my faith. Why do I believe this? What does Jesus dying on the cross thousands of years ago have to do with my life now? It wasn't only a doubt in regards to my questionings, but also certain things that were happening in my life led to doubt and my trust in God. One of the challenges that I was really faced with was with, I know this sounds so random and odd, but when I started losing my hair. So I actually, at a very young age in middle school, um, I started noticing some hair that was falling off from the top of my head. I found myself not really caring much being at that age, but as I went on to high school, um, I would say that I started noticing it even more, to the point where I would have friends who would come up to me and ask, "Hey, are you okay? You know, is there anything we need to know about?" And it led to a path of depression, of insecurity, to the point where my hope one day is to be married and to be a father, to be a husband, and thoughts would come into my mind, and well, you're never going to be married. You're never you're never going to be a father. You're never going to be a husband. Who would ever want to marry someone like you? And so that's just an example of those thoughts, those intrusive thoughts that started kicking in. And so it wasn't just the aspect of losing my hair, but it revealed a lot about my heart, um, and it led to a path of depression, of insecurity. So that's where I found myself in a place of doubting God's goodness and just questioning, why would God allow this to happen? What good comes out of this? How could anything good come out of this? And I had this misconception of who God was. And I remember reading Second Corinthians, and the author of the book, named Paul, is talking about a thorn in his flesh. More than likely, this was a chronic illness that Paul was dealing with. And so Paul, not only once, but 3 times, pleads to the Lord for this thorn in his flesh to be removed. Same for me. I would find myself spending hours on my knees in my room asking God, "Lord, if you restore my hair, if my hair grows back, I promise that I'll live my life faithfully unto you, that everything that is done from here on out would be done for your glory." And I just ask that if there's one thing that you could do for me right now, it's this, right? And but reading God's response to Paul is what absolutely wrecked me. And God responds by saying, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is perfected in your weakness." And that was God telling me, I am enough. That whether you have hair or not, whatever is lost, whatever is taken away, that I am sufficient for you. I know that in my past, I've always wrestled with the fear of, well, does God love me? Does does God, a holy and perfect God, really want anything to do with me? But that is the purpose of what Jesus came to do, is that he lived a life in which I could not, a perfect and spotless life, and yet died the death in which I deserved. And so when he died on the cross, Jesus said, "It is finished." Right? So meaning that all my sin, all my mistakes, all my shame has been wiped away. Because Jesus was the only one who could afford to pay for my wrongdoing. And when he died for me, I have been given a new identity. I've been called his son. And in God's word, it says that nothing could ever change that. Nothing can separate us from the love of Jesus. There's a verse in Matthew where Jesus says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." I remember reading that and thinking, wait, these are the qualifications to come to Jesus? All who are tired and weary, heavy laden? That's me. right? And so, understanding that Jesus is not saying, "Come to me, all who have it all figured out. Come to me, all. Come to me with those of you who have worked, who have done enough." He says, "Come to me as you are." There are many things in my life that I'm never going to have any control over. One of those things being, as I've mentioned, my hair loss. I mean, we attempted to do anything and everything to find a solution and go to doctors, but I found myself understanding that I can't control my circumstances, but I do have the ability to respond to them. Now I find myself in a place knowing who to run to, um, and I know that I can run to Jesus. I know that I can abide in Him and trust in Him. Probably one of the biggest issues that I see facing our generation is insecurities. People placing so much of their identity on this. And I can stand here saying, hey, listen, here I am. God is enough. He is good. And if it wasn't for this, then I wouldn't be able to understand where people are coming from who face insecurities. But God took away something that was very important to me, which was my hair. But if this is what it took, to start a meaningful relationship with Jesus, then it's worth it. Totally worth it. And whatever else is taken away, whatever else is lost, so be it. I have Jesus.